Mastodon.
Mastodon?
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Had a hard time trying to jump out and scream their name throughout this whole podcast, but
He's been sitting there like going, yeah, Mastodon.
can't wait to talk about it.
Rocking back.
Now, can I say it now?
That'll be in the outtakes.
Mastodon's "Crack the Sky" has to be my favorite album ever. Number one, without a doubt. Number one album.
I just want to interrupt you there, because if you ever said otherwise, like if you said that any other album was your favorite album ever, I would flat out call you a liar, because the amount of times you listen to Crack the Sky, talk about Crack the Sky, wear your Crack the Sky merchandise, the amount of times we saw Mastodon perform Crack the Sky, if you said any other band or any other album was your favorite of all time, I would break your nose.
Well, for those of you who are not familiar with Crack the Sky...
Yeah, right. You've talked about it enough. I'm sure anyone listening to this has heard it.
Well, yeah, it's their 2009 album. And right away, I mean, I love it for the concept, the fact that it's a concept album. And everything that it is about. The storyline is so interesting. It has to do with Rasputin and astral traveling and through outer space and whatnot, and wormholes and all this crazy crap. And... it really takes you on an adventure throughout the whole thing, and this is an album that you can't skip any tracks, and you wouldn't want to anyways because they're so good. But the storyline fits. Everything's so perfect. The first song right off the bat was "Oblivion," which is probably one of my favorite songs from them. Yeah, it's definitely, it's so catchy, and it's so like eerie and weird the way like. Brandaler sings in the beginning, like his verses, the drummer, and I remember they made a really cool video for it and stuff like that, music video, and I mean, honestly, the cool thing about Oblivion, the song Oblivion, is that that's a song that I'll even mention to people that are looking for new metal or new music, or someone that's not familiar with that genre at all. That's usually one of the first songs I give them when I tell them to check that, when I tell them to check out Mastodon. But, I mean, the whole thing is great. I really can't pick out any song specifically, except for maybe when we get to the end of the album. Track 7, The Last Baron. It's a solid 13 minutes long.
Yep.
And this song right here, I literally have probably played over and over and over again so many times. I can't even tell you. Like, I know every word. I know every note.
He really does.
To this song, The Last Baron.
He can actually fart the melody.
Yes, I could probably fart the melody. But it seriously is just, it's an amazing song, and it's got everything from like heavy riffs and heavy aggressive vocals to more clean vocals, and it's very psychedelic throughout the whole thing, and a lot of different synthesizers are being used, and ridiculous drumming. Drum fills are insane, and it's the whole album. I mean, I don't know what else to say. I become speechless when I think about it. It's just so good. And of course, on top of that, the artwork. When you look at the album, and this goes for all Mastodon artwork, it's amazing, and really caught my eye right in the beginning. I remember not being that familiar with them at one point, and when I saw that album, I was like, maybe I should check these guys out. I listened to them back when Leviathan came out for a little bit. Like I heard some of their music, but not enough to really get into them. And but Crack the Sky did it for me, and then I went back, of course, and I went through all their stuff, and
you're gonna be covered in Mastodon tattoos by the time your life is over.
Yeah, Mastodon.
But Crack the Sky was so different. It wasn't anything like what they had done before, and that's it was a great concept from the beginning, and it was just so well executed. And now I keep trying to think, how many times did we see them play that live? I remember the last time, which we'll mention very briefly, but you saw them one more than I did.
I saw them 5 times live.
So I saw them 4. Yeah. And that was all on the Crack the Sky touring cycle. And I had seen them twice before that.
Yeah, that was all within a year.
Yeah, where we saw them with Death Clock. We saw them headline.
Yep.
And then
we got to meet them. We got pictures with them.
Oh, that's right, which was very exciting. Yeah. And it was exciting then, But even now, looking back and looking at how much you love this band now, it's even more exciting looking back going, I can't believe I got a picture of them.
Yeah, like...
Everyone except Brent.
Right. Yeah, Brent was off partying or something.
He needed the smoke. He was out on needing the smoke. Yeah. But Bran was really cool.
Yep.
And they were all cool. It was nice. Yep. But the last time we saw them, and we've told this story before, was when BT Bam opened.
Oh, yeah.
And it was like the last leg of the last part of the tour where they were going to play Crack the Sky, and then they were never going to do it again.
Yeah.
And that led to the whole "you suck dick" comment and whatever. And that was actually, I think, the only time we saw them where we almost regretted it because they were so bad that night because Brent was so fucked up.
Yeah, he was
yelling at the guitar tech. He was yelling at the soundboard guy. Apparently their soundboard guy quit that night.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he was so fed up. They started so what song did they start? Where they started, he played like the opening riff, and he's like, no, my guitar's all fucking out of tune.
Oh, yeah.
And he had to start over, and the keyboard player, who's like just basically a touring keyboard player for them, was kind of standing there awkwardly like, okay, let's just keep going. And that's the only thing that could kill that band, is Brent. Getting fucked up and ruin it. But I mean, their new album since then, I know you're a big fan of The Hunter.
The Hunter, yep, absolutely. And that's another one where they went in a different direction again.
Yeah.
Really changed their sound, which is cool. Instead of I think they had their little ride of similar sounding albums in the beginning, but even them, they kind of changed within each album too. But then they took the drastic change in Crack the Sky, and then now The Hunter, and who knows what they're gonna come out with next.
There's actually an interview with one of them I saw today where basically they said that The Hunter, the songs are a little more upbeat because they're in a better place now. They're happy with where they are in their careers and everything,
right.
So the music reflects that.
Right.
And I actually just thought about this, that while this podcast is going up on the site, when you guys are listening to this, we will have been seeing Mastodon the day before.
Yeah, that's right.
So on Saturday, we'll be watching Mastodon.
That's right, we're going to see them live.
Which is going to be pretty exciting to see, because the set list looks like a lot of the new stuff, which is cool.
Yeah.
But so there you go. There's Murmaiders, number one. Mm-hmm. And obviously, again, his favorite album of all time.
Absolutely.
Which I guess leads to my favorite album of all time.
Yeah, what do you have for us?
I'm not even going to beat around the bush. I'm not going to try to be coy or anything. It's Catatonia's Great Cold Distance. It came out in 2006. I remember where I bought it, when I bought it. I remember the guy that rung me up for it. I remember everything because this album was the one that really... This is what made me the metal fan I am today. I have nothing bad to say about this band, except for the lyrics to the song Criminal from a previous album. Those are pretty bad. But outside of that, this album is everything right with metal. And I say that because something we've discussed about this album is that the first time you turn it on and you listen to it, you go, oh, fuck, My Twin, my favorite song.
Yeah.
Then the next time the album goes through, you're like, oh, July is such a great song.
Yep.
Then the next time it's like, oh, Deliberation, oh my God. It's one of those albums where every track can be your favorite. And it really was for me. I would say that My Twin is still, above all else, my favorite Catatonia song. But every time I put on the album, I get stuck on one song, and it's always different. But what amazes me about this band is, seeing them live has been great. We've seen them a bunch of times too, and Jonas is always great. But what amazes me more is the way they conduct their business. And I say that'll sound weird, but the album came out, and they put out a bunch of singles from the album, like actual CD singles, which are rare in the first place, equally rare or more rare for metal bands to put out singles. But the thing that they do is they end up putting out, it's one song. So there was Deliberation, there was July, and there was My Twin. And each of those singles had a remix and one or two B-sides. And the B-sides are just as good as the songs on the album. I actually think that two of the B-sides, there's Unfurl, which is easily probably in my top 5 Catatonia songs of all time. Displaced. It's all great. And the remixes themselves. There's like a dubstep, not dubstep. God, no, it's not dubstep. It's a dub remix, of My Twin with just this beat to it. Yeah. There's a remix of the song In the White, which is just beautiful. It's amazing to me what they accomplish. And this album, without a doubt, the artwork again was done by Travis Smith, who also did artwork for Nevermore, and all the artwork all ties together. It's all the same theme. I actually have Christine, our marketing person, did a couple paintings of the artwork for me, which are hanging up in the headquarters, which is that's awesome. But everything about this album, everything is just everything I always wanted in an album. This is the best metal album I've ever heard in my life to this day. And I know it's only 5 years old, but it seems like it seems like I've been listening to this. You know, my disc is, it's another one. I think I own four different copies of it because they, you know, put it out with different tracks on it, whatever, and then I'd scratch mine to shit because I'd listen to it all the time. So, but yeah, so that's...
That's definitely another one that I almost had on my list too. It's definitely been one of my favorites. Catatonia is one of my favorite bands also. Yeah, ever since you got me into them, I've, you know...
Yeah, and I wasn't going to let you not like them.
Yeah.
I would have played them 600 times.
Until I liked them.
Yeah, until you liked them, but it didn't take that long.
No,
not like with Opeth. It wasn't like Opeth where I had to grow on you.
Yeah.
Catatonia is just one of those bands.
Yep.
They're metal, but they're accessible. It's easy to listen to.
Yeah.
Jonas has one of the best voices, I think, in metal. It's so sad, but so powerful.
Yeah, they're another band that I suggest music to when someone asks me, like, "Oh, get me into metal," or what, you know, what do you listen to? I always go towards Catatonia also. This album specifically.
It was funny because when we were putting together these lists, you were saying, like, okay, so my list is going to be Mastodon, 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 Mastodon,
yeah,
Mastodon.
should I throw Leviathan?
I absolutely had a hard time not putting the latest Catatonia album, Night is the New Day, on there.
Oh, I know, yeah.
Because there were so many...
So good.
Yeah, it's so amazing.
Yep.
And then that always gets me thinking of when we saw them in the city and Krister Linder came out and did Departer with them.
Oh, yeah, that was amazing.
And I've talked to other people about this who were at that show. Yeah. Apparently that's still, to this day, the only time they've ever performed that song. And just, you remember the vibe in the place? Like, it was, everybody had chills, because that motherfucker can sing.
Oh, yeah.
And the place was, like, dark, just kind of blue lit, and it was just fucking crazy. You can actually find a short clip of it on YouTube. It's only like a minute clip. But I watch that clip every now and then just because.
Yeah.
But, so I guess that's it. Those are our fives.
Yeah.
It's fucking crazy. And I mean, you guys might think we're all fucking morons. Who the fuck knows?
Yeah.
Like I said, we're not saying these are the best albums ever, but these are the 5 albums each that we always go back to no matter what.
It's our opinions, damn it.
Yeah, motherfuckers. Like, I will never be tired of Avantasia. I'll never be tired of Mastodon. I easily could have taken any one from your 5, and it could have been my 5, and probably vice versa.
Exactly. I actually just want to, point out that there are other bands that, we haven't forgotten that could have easily made it, like Blind Guardian or Nevermore, or even Stradivarius. They were all barely up there, just trying to figure out what could fit, So like even Death Clock,
Actually, the first Death album was right on the cusp of my 5.
Yeah.
But when you're picking these, you always kind of go for the ones that kind of have that personal significance.
Yeah.
So all these albums, really, for both of us, are ones that kind of change the way we listen to music.
Yep.
Which is why they're so important. So I'm actually curious, and I know no one ever leaves comments on the site or anything. Excuse me, burp. But I'm curious what your 5 albums are. Like, if you guys ever had just 5 albums that really changed the way you listen to metal, what would they be?
Yeah.
What are the 5 that you can't live without? We've talked to people we know about this, and they kind of look at us like, 5 albums? Oh, well...
It's hard, yeah. It's...
They always say it's easy. Like, oh, I can pick 5, no problem. But when you get, 1 is this, 2... Oh, yeah, but this one could be, and then there's that one.
Yeah.
So, if we were talking, like, if it was the greatest albums of all time, then Black Sabbath's got to be in there, right?
Yeah, right, exactly. That's and for us just to put this list together took us 2 weeks to prepare for. We were
going to do this last week, and we couldn't.
Yeah, we've been really, taking our time with it, making sure we don't forget anybody, and, but this is a really good list that we have, I think.
Yeah, I agree. So check these out. You'll see right below the lists, the list for each person, so you can get an idea of that. And I'll probably link it to the reviews, so you can see all the reviews we've done. Because I think we've reviewed all of these albums. I'm sure the site was created for this purpose.
Yeah.
When we first started doing this, it literally was let's review all of our favorite albums, even though they're 5 or 6 years old. Now that Murmaider holds the clock over, and we see that this is really fucking long. So sorry about that. Hopefully you listened to the whole thing. If you didn't,
well, you should.
If you didn't, you didn't make it this far. Then fuck you. Because you're not going to even hear me say that. Fuck you. Douchebag. So next week we'll be back with some more reviews and another topic, and we'll figure something out for you motherfuckers.
Maybe have one of our guests with us
we really. I know Chester's been dying, man.
I know, him too. Yeah.
And Chester always did prefer Tarja to Annette and Nightwish. So,
what a little bitch.
Fucking little bitch. So until next time, make sure you listen to Light and Darkness. Make sure you check out the interviews and the reviews on our site. Every night at 8 there is something awesome. It's all awesome.
Yeah, unless we have a snowstorm or something. That's the only time that may... Yeah, if we don't have any electricity, then we I don't know if we'll be able to make it. But.
Yeah, we've had that problem a couple times,
Yeah.
but we'll figure that fucking out.
Yeah.
Keep an eye out for other shit too.
Yep. And all right.
We'll see.